At least we couldn't lose to the bye week, too, right? Team Keep It Clean, I'm here to share my post-game thoughts, not from no Ravens game, but from the games that us Ravens fans were watching and very, very closely, too. Specifically with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cincinnati Bengals, but also with the Miami Dolphins and the Cleveland Browns. But before we talk about those teams, let's talk about our guys, because we still got a chance at this thing. We still got an opportunity to make some things happen. And while it is extremely tough, and it's going to be very, very, to a lot of outside people and even some inside people, it's a very unlikely chance, but it's still a chance nonetheless. We've been talking about it on here, how the Baltimore Ravens have to be almost perfect in order to really make this thing happen. Will they do it? We'll see. Can they do it? It's possible, especially when you have somebody like Lamar Jackson, and he'll be coming back. Harbaugh already said, hey, for that Bears game, Lamar will be back. And, you know, when Harbaugh speaks in definites, then it is a for sure thing. So it's going to be exciting to see Lamar Jackson out there on the practice field. Then excited to see him out there on game day against Chicago at M&T Bank Stadium. That should be a really fun game, especially because the Bears, they coming in hot. They on a 4-game win streak. Ooh, boy. But then our Ravens, they coming in extremely cold. Temperatures below sub-zero because they on a 4-game losing streak, I believe, right? Yeah, because we lost to the Rams, the Texans, the Chiefs, and the Lions. Yeah, the last game we won was against the Browns. That's crazy. The last game we won was against Joe Flacco, and he ain't even on the same team no more. But speaking of Joe Flacco, we watched them Cincinnati Bengals beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday, and I was surprised at that game, and I was conflicted as well. Because first off, shout out to Joe Flacco, because it was a bittersweet thing seeing him do his thing. It was sweet seeing him do his thing, but it was bitter because it was for the Cincinnati Bengals. But one of my guys reminded me in the video where we talked about how the way that this offense, Baltimore Ravens offense, is constructed, and how it's a necessity that they have a quarterback that can run because the offensive line has been so bad. And this offense, it's a necessity that the quarterback be able to run, scramble, be able to have some speed, some takeoff, because the offensive line ain't going to be giving him much room. But he talked about how with this offense, it's been sort of this way for a while. And the way that they constructed this offense it's been very, very just frustrating for a while, because you look at Joe Flacco, and he was a rookie back in 2008. It's 2025. He's been in the game for a long, long, long time. But for him, at his age, to go out there and be balling. And he pointed out, he said, you see what happens when you surround him with elite talent? I said, oh, boy. And we still getting that realization in 2025 with Joe Flacco. And it just was just a knock to what the Baltimore Ravens did and really didn't do when it came to Joe Flacco. You had a quarterback that so many of us went to bat for year after year after year after year, got into so many arguments with people year after year after year after year, and we said he's elite. Joe Flacco is elite, but the Baltimore Ravens, they had the franchise quarterback, and they did not do the best by him. They really didn't. When they got Anquan Bolden, that was nice. It was a perfect pair with him and Torrey Smith. You had a true number one receiver, and then you had Torrey Smith, who was a deep ball threat. And then you had Jacoby Jones. That was real nice setup right there. You had Ray Rice. The team, you had Ray Lewis on the other side there. Ray, hold up, but the team was stacked. But then a lot of other times, a lot of other years, they just would get cast offs, especially at the wide receiver position. And that even happened years after the Super Bowl, happened years before. But anyway, we talk about that another time. But it was nice to see Joe Flacco be able to still do his thing. Now, with that, going into that game, I was very conflicted, because I was like, man, who do I want to win? Who do I want to lose? I would love to see if both teams could lose, because they both in our division. When I thought with my heart, because I just love seeing the Bengals lose. I don't know if it's the same way for y'all, but it is for me. I love seeing the Cincinnati Bengals lose. And maybe it's because of this whole rivalry, not between the actual quarterback, but between the fans, Ravens fans and Bengals fans. Oh, who's better between Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow? We know the answer is Lamar Jackson. They know the answer is Lamar Jackson. Everybody knows the answer is Lamar Jackson. What? Anyway, there's been that whole thing. But I love seeing the Bengals lose. So that's what my heart wanted. I want to see the Bengals lose. But then at the same time, when I think logically, and that's something that's very, very hard for me to do. But when I think logically, say, oh, no, it would actually benefit us if the Bengals won. and the Steelers lost, because the Steelers have a hold of the AFC North right now, and that them losing would allow us to have more of a shot, more of a chance to reclaim the AFC North. So we did see that the Steelers lost. So, hey, that helped us out. So look at that. Joe Flacco, once a Raven, always a Raven. Now, to the Miami Dolphins and Cleveland Browns game. That game has a couple of implications towards the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, the Browns, they're in our division. They won. We're in last place in the AFC North. That sounds crazy to say. Ravens are in last place in the AFC North. Below the Steelers, below the Bengals, below the Browns. That's crazy. Browns got more wins than our Baltimore Ravens do. And something that's been frustrating, and this ain't even got nothing to do with the Browns, but it's been frustrating to see teams all over the league. We saw it just last night with the San Francisco 49ers yet again. Backup quarterback. And they got a bunch of people on IR. They missing their starting inside linebacker, Fred Warner. Probably the best linebacker in the league. George Kittle did come back for them, so that was nice. I saw a boy, Kyle Juszczyk. I said, oh, man. What could have been, and what was, because he was a baller. I was sad when they let him go. But Pat Ricard, he been doing this thing. But anyway, again, backup quarterback, they handled business. They did. They handled their business. You look at the Eagles in the Vikings game. The Vikings had Carson Wentz, backup quarterback, and they were right there until the end of it. So they were competitive. We ain't even been competitive with our backup QBs. But we supposed to have this like roster, the super team and whatnot. And it just has not been showing with Lamar Jackson out. So that was just a little nice reminder. But anyway, back to the Browns and the Dolphins. That game, we're in last place. The Browns are ahead of us. Everybody's ahead of us. But then you think about, and their defense just was going crazy. But Tua threw 3 picks in that game. And Tua has just been all kinds of bad. I'm not a big fan of Tua. I do not think he was worth that second contract at all. I didn't think it after he got the contract, and I certainly didn't think it even before he got the contract. But the Dolphins, they've been a get-right game for a lot of these teams. And we've been a get-right game for a lot of these teams. So, hey, when we go against them, something's got to give. Now, again, we got the Bears and the Dolphins coming up for our next 2 games on the schedule. And the season is basically on the line. With these next 2 games. It really is. Obviously, some other things could happen to where it won't necessarily be, but Ravens season is on the line these next 2 games. You got a game at the crib, and then you got a game at your summer crib, which is, them Florida Ravens, all them from down here and whatnot. But anyway, that's going to be fun, and I can't wait to see everybody at that Miami Dolphins and Ravens game. It's going to be a party. But anyway, a lot is on the line. Everything is on the line. But it is nice because the Baltimore Ravens are getting healthier. Lamar Jackson, he'll be back. This bye week will allow Ronnie Stanley, even though the offensive line has been all kinds of bad, this bye week will have allowed Ronnie Stanley to get healthier. This bye week will allow Chidobe Awuzie, who's had an up and down season, for him to be back. But also this bye week will allow for Pat Ricard to get even healthier. And we expecting him to make his season debut against the Chicago Bears. So we know Derrick Henry, he got to be celebrating. The Baltimore Ravens, the offensive line, they got to be celebrating. Lamar Jackson, everybody got to be celebrating on the offense because Pat Ricard is back. So that's a beautiful thing. Now, with that being said, we had the bye week, and now we got these games against the Bears and the Dolphins coming up. But after that, Ravens are set up nice because when we first saw the schedule, when it first came out in, May, I think, we were looking like, man, why the Ravens got such an early bye week? But we ain't know that they were going to suck at this point in the season and be just all kinds of terrible. So this is early bye week, and they were going to be extremely beat up too. Oh, and Roquan Smith, he coming back as well. But they were going to be extremely beat up. But we had no idea about that. But here we are. So this early bye week, it worked itself out. Now, you go through these next 2 games against the Bears and the Dolphins, and then you have sort of an extra bye week. You have a little mini bye week because you play on Thursday Night Football, so you have a 10-day break in between games. So that'll allow the Ravens extra time to recuperate, to rejuvenate, to just relax, and just to have another reset, an additional reset, like they had this last week with their bye. So they can put themselves in a nice position. Obviously, going into that 10-day break, we need them to be 3-5. Will they? Time will tell. But anyway, back to the Browns and the Dolphins game. I could see a scenario when we going against the Miami Dolphins that we actually going against Quinn Ewers, who got promoted to second string quarterback in yesterday's game, because Mike McDaniel, Ravens' future offensive coordinator, he was talking about how they could make some changes. Said if some players ain't playing up to potential, if you're not, he said something about like if you are having a bad impact on a team, I forgot the exact words that he used, and he said we could look at some other guys on the roster. So will they bench their big money quarterback Tua Tagovailoa? We'll see. And the Ravens will see in about a week and a half. So that should be make that game even more interesting. But yeah, so again, back to the Ravens. You got to get it done. A lot is against you. The defense. Let's go back on the defense. Speaking of defense, Eric DeCosta. They said that he's been looking around, looking for help on the defensive side of the ball, which is no surprise. We expect him to get an interior defensive lineman. We know he has to add some edge rushers as well, especially with, again, Odafe got traded. Tavius Robinson, he's injured. So you got to add some guys there. So they're going to do something. Who's it going to be? Where is it going to come from? Hey, who knows? Now, a report that I did see, and I know this video been all over the place, but again, these are our post-game thoughts from this week, so you know how our thoughts be everywhere, all at the same time. But I appreciate y'all being patient with us and always listening. So I love y'all. Thank you so much. Now, I saw a report the other day that said one league, anonymous, of course. They always got to be anonymous. Why don't you just put a name on it? But an anonymous league executive told Diana Rossini that the Ravens, they should be getting in contact with Dean Pease. They need to bring Dean Pease back. I said, this anonymous executive, it must be somebody who the Baltimore Ravens still got on their schedule. And they looking for a get-right game against the Ravens, especially with their offense. Dean Pease, ain't Dean Pease still kind of part of the staff? Right? I believe he ain't. John Harbaugh said the other day that they considered talking to him, something like that. But no, we know. We don't need no Dean Pease, man. Dean Pease, his fingerprints, his DNA, it's already all over this defense as is. Because when you watch this defense, remember Dean Pease's defense was a bend but don't break type of defense. And the same thing that Zach Orr is doing, it's the same thing that Dean Pease did when he was Ravens defensive coordinator. His identity was to play them corners all the way back and just let that offense move right down the field. But hey, in crunch time, in the red zone, hey, let's tighten up, y'all. Try not to let them score. Don't let them get touchdowns. But they would have them backed up. It would be so frustrating watching it every single week. And it's crazy. Our defensive coordinators over the years, they've all had their frustrations. We look at Wink. Wink was, that boy was a maniac when it came to blitzing. That boy would blitz any and everybody. He would blitz too much. That would be the thing with him. He would blitz. It would be so imbalanced with him blitzing. He would send everybody. And even if it wasn't working, he would still keep sending everybody. You had to respect the commitment, but it was bad because he wouldn't learn from his mistakes. And that was very, very frustrating. Then you had Mike Macdonald. That guy was perfect, man. So sad, man. Oh, boy. Getting ready to have that 10 p.m. Eastern Time Monday Night Football game. My goodness, man. But Mike Macdonald, he was great as defensive coordinator for the Ravens. We had a pass rush. We forced turnovers. We were a real defense, man. Those were a great 2 years because it came and went extremely fast. Whew. And then Zach Orr. Yeah, we're here now with Zach Orr. So now after this bye, we got to hope for a turnaround. We know with the Rams game, there was some little fluky stuff that happened. Puka was out. They were dropping passes. But, hey, at the same time, 17 points. 17 points. We know the Rams weren't playing their best ball. And we see what they did to the Jaguars yesterday morning. What was it, 35-7, something like that? I said, oh, man. Goodness, they didn't score that many points on us, so I guess we better than the Jaguars. So shout out to that. Then I saw somebody respond to me. They said, "Man, we getting compared to the Jaguars now. We hit an all-time low." Hey, we 1-5. Yeah, we certainly hit an all-time low for sure. But yeah, man, we gotta just hope that this defense, something gives with this defense, and we can be more consistent with that now, with holding teams to 17, and I know it's a lot to ask. I get it. Trust me, I do. We all do. But we got to hope for something. So yeah, these Ravens, that's where these Ravens are at right now. We'll see how they are after this bye week. And because they got no excuses, they have no room for error. They really don't. You're 1-5. You've already lost 5 games. 5 games. I think that was the total that they lost last year, right? I believe so, because they started off 0-2. And then they only lost 3 games the rest of the season, I believe. But you've already lost 5 games. So, yeah, you are walking on thin ice, buddy. So now we reach my favorite part of these videos where we get to feature your questions. If you'd like to take part in it, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com. Or if you want to show the channel a little extra love and a little extra support, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids and become a Team Keep It Clean patron. Now, before we get into the questions, we got to give a special shout out to my guy, Baby Ray 5210, my guy, Aaron G. Hey, congrats to you, because him and his wife, they've been together for 11 years, and they've been married for 4 years. Hey, and that is a great accomplishment. So happy anniversary coming up to y'all. They're going to be going to this Ravens and Bears game. And we already know, our Ravens been struggling. As we know, as we just finished talking about, they've been struggling, but they still do have a chance. And it's going to be nice, extremely nice, that y'all are going to be there for the turnaround for this Baltimore Ravens team. It's going to be extremely nice that you're going to see live, in person, in action. You're going to get to witness Lamar Jackson playing some football. Again, because when we went to the game last week, it was fun. It was a great time, but Lamar wasn't even playing. So it's always different. When Lamar don't play, it's different. The game ain't the same, but you are going to get to witness history, my friend. But seriously, man, congrats to you and your wife. That's an amazing accomplishment, because 4 years married, that's a long time. In this day and age, marriage is not looked at like it used to be. And that is a great positive commitment. That is something that is special. It really, really, really is. So shout out to you, shout out to your wife, shout out to your family. We happy for you. We proud of you. We appreciate you too, because you a Team Keep It Clean patron. So you already show love to the why not show love to you, man? So shout out to you. Enjoy the game. And you know what? Now our first question came from my guy, Baby Ray 5210. And my guy done changed the profile picture over there, looking all swollen and whatnot. Okay, I see you. Anyway, he said, Engraven, man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am so happy we are on a bye, and I can just relax on a Sunday and Monday without being disappointed having mild heart attacks and strokes from this Ravens team this year. But first, wanted to see how things are. Are you good? Oh, yeah, we good. But we know you even better. You got that anniversary coming up. It's crazy because your anniversary coming up in a couple of days. Our anniversary coming up soon, too. Ours is on November 3rd. So we were right around the corner from each other. But anyway, he said, my question is, do you feel that John Harbaugh will actually make a change at right guard or left guard if Emory Jones turns out to be a better replacement? Or do you think his pride and ego will continue to let him see the terrible play from Falala and let Lamar get hurt again? And he said, knocks on every piece of wood in my house. I really feel we can make a run. But in order to do that, we need this O-line to step up. I am not confident in John Harbaugh making that change. When John Harbaugh has his guys and he has his guys set, he has his guys set. I would love if they did make a change like that, because what's the worst that can happen? You have 3 in-house options. I don't expect them to get somebody from the outside. I wouldn't mind if they did, but I don't expect them to get anybody from the outside. But you have Emory Jones, you have Corey Bullock, you have Ben Cleveland. So you have options right there, 3 options. And 2 spots that have been very, very shaky. And then this whole offensive line has been pretty shaky. But I think changes at those spots could help. But I'm not confident in John Harbaugh to make those changes. I'm really not. Because, again, Andrew Voorhees, Falele, those are guys who we've been saying since last year. We knew they were going to end up starting this season. And the Ravens didn't really bring in any competition for them like that. And so, yeah, while I would love to see it, I can't seriously, realistically expect to see it. But hey, hopefully Harbaugh will surprise us. Anyway, he said, next, what trade would you make if you could on defense? If I could. Bring me Quentin Williams and Max Crosby. Bring me Jeff Simmons and Max Crosby. Anybody in Max Crosby, because Max Crosby is a difference maker in the pass game as a pass rusher, but also he's great in the run game too. And he ain't afraid of nobody either. I done seen Max Crosby one-on-one with Derrick Henry. It was last year. And that boy, he went head up with Derrick Henry, man. Max Crosby. There ain't too many people that go head up with Derrick Henry like that. But he was one of them. So I would love him on this Ravens team. So, yeah, and then interior defensive line help. Again, Jeff Simmons, Quentin Williams. That's another one from the Jets. The Jets, they ain't been doing nothing but losing. So, I mean, we got one more win than the Jets, though, so we ain't too far off from them. So if Quentin Williams, if he came from New York to the Ravens, hey, his win percentage would go way up. But at the same time, so yeah, that's some moves that I would make. Anyway, he said mine would be Bradley Chubb, from the Dolphins. Hopefully that injury is all the way healed up. Hopefully. And he can get back to the Bradley Chubb of old. Because he was on the Broncos before, I believe. I'm pretty sure he was. But anyway, he said, or try to get Campbell from the Cardinals and get that vet back on the defensive line. Yeah, that would be a very Ravens move right there. Calais Campbell, bringing that old thing back. With Calais Campbell, he's been better than what the Ravens have been on the defensive line, and he will certainly help. I know it will be more so a stopgap, though, too. I think with Ravens, especially with the Nnamdi Madubuike situation, it's tricky, man, because it does sound like it's probably going to be career-ending, but we'll see when we get there. But so how would a stopgap be? And I know it would be more so just for this season, but I don't know. I feel like a Calais Campbell would be a very safe move for the Baltimore Ravens. While it would be an improvement, it will be very, very safe. I want the Baltimore Ravens to take a big swing. Next question came from my guy Deandre. He said, hello, Ingraven, hope all is well. It's been a minute since I sent a question in. Yeah, it has been a little while. I know you've been over there stressed out. Been stressed out watching these Ravens, man. They'll do that to you, though. Anyway, he said, been watching this whole season unfold, and man, I cannot believe what has been happening. My question is more so regarding the offensive line. Do you think the O-line is a player issue or more so a Warhop issue? Ooh, I forgot about that part, too. Because it was Joe D before. Then he unfortunately passed away. Warhop ended up taking over. I think it's a mix of both. Because under Joe D too, like with Falele, we saw a lot of struggles there as well. It wasn't all bad, and he had great moments too. But we certainly saw the struggles there as well, and we've still been seeing the struggles there this season too. So I think it's a mix of personnel. Coach could be a problem too, but I think it's also just not truly putting the best five out there consistently. It's more a loyalty issue, I think, with John Harbaugh. And again, it was the same thing like with Brandon Stevens last year. Brandon Stevens was somebody, he struggled a lot, kept struggling. They left him out there all year long. Teams will continue to go at him. Teams will continue to pick on him, continue to attack him. Ravens still left him out there all year long. All year. So with Falele, I think John Harbaugh just has that loyalty to Falele. And we, of course, don't wish nothing bad on Falele. We hope that he does continue to improve and get better. But there's that loyalty, that almost blind loyalty that John Harbaugh has to some players on the team, to where he will look past, who is truly the best man for the job? Or, you know what? I'm going to just go with my guy. That's what it seems like, at least from us at the end of the bar, us on the outside looking in. We don't know everything that happens behind the scenes. We don't know everything that happens in practice, so I will say that part too now. There's a lot that we don't know. There's a lot that we don't see. But that's what it at least seems like from our point of view. Anyway, he said, I've been seeing breakdowns on the offensive line, and one of the things that does often come up is how players have been showing wide hand techniques, and I could be wrong, but I often thought that was a bad technique, but you always see it with Voorhees and Falele. Personally, I think if we come out the bye and don't change up the offensive line, our season may be done, sadly. We can't go into the postseason with a team that has no pass rush and a bad offensive line. Ooh, that's a powerful double whammy right there. He said, I just don't see us making the Super Bowl unless things change. What are your thoughts? I say anything is possible, but I would like to see a nice shift on the offensive line, because I think that could do this team So much good. So you're saying there's a chance. Next question came from DaJuan. I ain't seen you in. It feel like it's been years. I remember your name though. But it's been a long time. It might not have been years, but it feel like it's been a long time, my friend. Anyway, he said, Harbaugh and all his staff saying they're going to turn the season around. It's no way they think without a pass rush or a good offensive line play, they're going to go on a run this season. Wow, his question lined up perfectly with my guy just right before this. He said, to me, it's like they were experimenting by depending on these rookies and guards who are not ready to start on the NFL roster. To me, the problem is we can't afford to invest free agency money in top pass rushers or offensive line help because we are paying top dollar for average players. So he said Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, and Ronnie Stanley. If you look at the top teams, Eagles, Bills, Lions, Kansas City, their top par players are playing at an elite level and their pay is justified. EDC needs to bring these high-paid, mediocre players to the table, adjust these contracts, and get some help in the trenches, a.k.a. the line of scrimmage. I know Roquan Smith and Marlon Humphrey are up for contracts next year. I don't think Roquan is. I don't think he is. Marlon Humphrey, he has no guaranteed money left on his deal. But I don't think Roquan is up for it because Roquan got a contract extension like right after they traded for him. They traded for him and gave him a contract extension like that the following offseason, I believe. Anyway, he said they are solid players but are getting paid like elite players. That's one of the issues among a lot of other issues with this team. Wow, that's powerful right there. But the reason that they did get paid, especially Marlon Humphrey, is because he was elite. He's been struggling this season, even though last game he had a good game against the Rams, I thought. Ronnie Stanley is a tricky one because he had been a really good left tackle. He had been hurt a lot. He'd been hurt so much. And even this year's been crazy because last year he was healthy the entire season, got his payday, and now he's just seemed to be hurt a lot again. So we'll see what happens with him. Roquan Smith, maybe he just needed Patrick Queen alongside him. Roquan Smith, he's been struggling, in my opinion. He just hasn't been the same Roquan Smith. And again, from that Browns game, that boy was amazing. That boy was flying everywhere. But I feel like we just have not seen that ever since then. And games before then, last year, certainly, this year, that Browns game was his best game as a Raven ever, in my opinion. Best game ever, in my opinion. Even if you take away that fumble recovery for a touchdown. That Browns game was his best game ever because he just looked the part. He looked like, that's who he traded for. That's who he signed to that contract. That's that Roquan Smith right there. But I just feel like we haven't been seeing that in any of the other games. And I don't know what it is. I'm really lost on what it is. Could it be him? Could it be the defense? Because again, when Zach Orr took over, a lot of different players, not just Roquan, but a lot of different players, their play dropped a lot. Coincidence? I don't know, my friends. Axe to grind, nevermore. Next question came from my guy, Joshua. He said, hello, Ingravenvids team, keep it clean. First time sending in a question or remark or rant of any kind. Forgive me for this because this one will be long. Looking at this one, it's not that long at all. Especially compared to what some people be saying before they feel like, woo, this is not, but it's all good, my friend. Anyway, he said, this start to the season has been really frustrating for me. I've been a Ravens fan since the team first started, but really began paying attention to football after the pandemic due to me getting involved with fantasy football. Groans incoming. But man, between seeing a stat of Harbaugh having as many blown leads as years as a head coach, watching KC revive themselves at our expense, seeing a rookie Texans receiver hit the Ray Lewis dance at M&T Bank Stadium, Kyle Hamilton calling Ravens fans spoiled when we are in the same conference with the Chiefs, and seeing Harbaugh's stupid face whenever something goes wrong, I began to feel my sanity and patience drain quick. Whew. My goodness, you know what was crazy about that, especially the part where you talked about Harbaugh with the blown leads. When I saw that Giants and Broncos game, I said, ooh, boy, that game got John Harbaugh and Ravens written all over it. All over it. Because Giants had a nice lead. I think it said they had like a 92% chance to win the game. Something like that. It might have been more. But we all saw what happened. Then Broncos scored, I think, 30-something points in the fourth quarter. What? 30-something points in the fourth quarter? What? Anyway, continuing. He said, why is this team so comfortable with being mediocre? Why is this team comfortable with wasting Lamar's time and effort? Why does this team love to drain the life out of the fan base so much that people are giving up on the season? He said, I feel like I've been asking the same questions over and over again. I hope this team can get their stuff together after the bye, but trust me, I will be back with another email. And like my hopes of seeing the idiot Harbaugh having the door hitting him on the butt on the way out, I'm out. Whew. My goodness, boy, that boy went off at the very end of his question. But man, it has been crazy to see. It really has been. And like you mentioned, a lot of people have given up on the season. A lot of people feel like it's a wrap already. A lot of people feel like, oh, just tank for a higher draft pick. Oh, let's just get through the season, get it over with. We ain't doing nothing. Again, I couldn't do that. I don't blame anybody that does do that, but we can't do that over here. Because we always want Ravens to win. We always want them to have a chance, want them to have a shot. And again, they do have a shot. They still do got a shot. But they got to be willing, in my opinion, to look within first and really be like, and it starts at the top. It starts at the top. Bashadi, I mean, he just send out the money or whatever. But EDC, John Harbaugh, it starts with them. They got, hey, what can we really do in order to be better? What can we really do in order to improve? With EDC, hey, again, they said he's still looking, so we'll see what kind of moves he makes. But with Harbaugh, I feel like he should just really have a conversation with the players. Hey, what do you think I should do better? What do you think I do good, but what do you think I do bad? What do you think I need to improve on? I think he should really have a sit down with different, all kinds of, not just the best players on the team, not just the leaders on the team, but with different players. Players who might not get in the game so much. Players on the practice squad too. Players who are bench players, second, third string, fourth. Everybody. I think he should really have a conversation with players on every single level of this team. With coaches too, on every single, not just coordinators, not assistant coach, but the different like linebacker coach, defensive back coach, O-line, everybody. I think they should have a lot of conversations. Hey, how can I be better? If they do, and who knows, maybe he has done that. I don't know. I know people in the comments will say, oh no, Harbaugh don't be doing that. We get that. But we don't know. But I think if they did, that could be the start of a significant positive change for the Baltimore Ravens.